the pretty girl. Hey everyone, so today's video is a little tips and tutorial sort of video, top 10 tips. Now when it comes to blending foundation, we all have this problem sometimes where we use a foundation brush and it's a bit too wet because of previously used foundation. So no, we're not going to use a brush, we're going to use a beauty blender. So if you find that you've just put on your foundation with a brush that seems a bit too wet and it doesn't seem to blend in properly, if you've got a beauty blender, and if you haven't, it's always good to get some cheap ones, is to just blend it out with that foundation. Step 2, how to bake. So obviously when it comes to baking, most people just use a proper baking powder, but if you don't have this, you can just grab a normal powder that we'd use to set foundation anyway, again with your beauty blender, and just use the end of a foundation brush or powder brush to scrape some of that off, and then it would make it into a loose setting powder for you to use under your eyes, your T-zone, that sort of area. So we all wake up with that messy bed hair, so the best thing to do is grab some dry shampoo and spray it all over your hair, getting it into all of the roots, all of the ends, and just literally soaking your hair with dry shampoo. And using the tips of your fingers, just rub your fingers through your hair, scrunching it up, making sure that all that dry shampoo's got through your hair. And grab, if you've got a large brush, these always work better, I think, for me as well, to just sort of use it, brush all that through your hair. You'll see it straightens it out a little bit. So for step 4 is to tie your hair up a perfect way. So if you're in a rush, or you're going to work or school, college, or even just out somewhere nice, and you can't be bothered to do anything with your hair, just literally brush it through. Even obviously after the step 3, I've already used dry shampoo, which helps and makes it feel nicer. Just brush it back, tie your hair up just above mid-length, just above midway through your hair. Pull a few of your bangs or fringe or bits of your side hair out. I've just pulled a little bit too much out, so all you do is just grab a bobby pin and just pin that back, and it will look super cute. So when it comes to bronzer, now I'm not actually showing you how to apply the bronzer here, I'm showing you how to apply it with the brush. As you can see, what I'm trying to explain here is to use the pointy end of the brush. Now most people would just use any part of the brush and just apply it, and they might find they're putting a bit too much on. The reason for this is if you use the corner of the brush, there's a little bit of the brush that seems a bit sharper than the other, and then sort of the rest of the brush, you would use the sharper part of it to sort of sculpt your face, you know, chisel those cheeks and make it look a bit more, you know, necessary. We all do this, come on guys, we find that we put a bit too much highlighter. Now I know there can never be too much, but as you can see here, it's quite a thick line. So don't get the brush again, just use the end of your finger to just smooth out the edges, and you'll see it looks a bit better afterwards. So always apply a base for your eyeshadow. This will help so much. If you just went straight in here, for example, with brown eyeshadow, it won't look good. So have a base, it will set it well. So for this step, I'm going to show you how to apply it properly. Now again, you use the corner of the brush and sort of do it where you can see the actual crease. So as you can see, I've just zoomed in there so you can see how it's going. And you would just very softly add that in a little bit by bit. Don't rush it, don't just whack it on, just take your time, unless you're in a rush, but still, if you can take your time, it doesn't take too long anyway. And then rather than just adding it on to the bottom with the same brush, get a sort of angled thin brush. These will apply so much better, and you also find if you just use the same brush, like a thicker fluffy eyeshadow brush, you can't see it as well, whereas now you can proper tell, really tell that I've just done that. But you can use that same fluffy brush to blend it out a little bit so the lines aren't as sharp, but adding some eyeshadow to the bottom lashes look a bit better as well, just to pop your eyes. So for this step, I'm showing you a good way of applying mascara. Now I know when you're in a rush, you're going to do it the way I've just showed you, where you just whack it on really fast. You want to look down into a mirror where you can, and if you've got a mirror that you can actually bend and move, just do it so you're literally looking down at the mirror, and rather than just applying your mascara, get a eyelash curler, which will just curl those eyelashes and make them a bit longer. I was just showing you the comparison there by applying the mascara on its own, and then you'll see once I've actually curled the lashes, what it looks like when I've added it then as well. Just adds a bit of extra length, and straight away you can see that side gone a bit longer as well. And this mascara is really good as well. I'll link it in the description below, and I think you may have seen it on Instagram and other YouTube tutorials as well. And again, with the bottom lashes, don't just rush, don't just whack that on, because you'll find it goes too clumpy and too thick. You want to use the end of the mascara brush and very lightly and very gently just apply it lash by lash, or a couple of lashes by lashes, and just apply them really smooth, and you'll see that they look really good. The final step is eyebrows. Now you don't want them coming on too sort of bold like I've just done, and this is sort of how to there's 2 steps in this one: how to avoid making them too thick, and what you would do if they are too thick. So with this one, I've just grabbed the waxy side, because obviously in my pomade there's like 2 different sides. There's a wax side, so I'm using that first, and I'm doing it to make some like fake brow hairs at the inner part of the brow. And as you can see, the shape's quite good. But there, I've added way too much. So what I'll do is I'll use the tip of my finger to just smooth off some of that excess, so it doesn't look too fulfilled and too much. And then I'll ignore that part, and I'll just literally add in a few more fake eyebrow hairs, and then add in a bit more wax, and it looks really good. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, as you can see here, that's my channel. If you want more videos, if there's any more suggestions, if you want any more top 10 tips or even beauty hacks, I will surely supply you with that. Bye!